So, WCW Nitro 97, which was July 22nd, 1997.
Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday night edition for reasons I have no idea why. Something else I might have missed last week. Did the Nitro Girls debut last week?
They did.
Yes.
Okay. They had about 87 dancing segments on the show. They were overexposed in week 2.
I thought it was fine.
Pretty much week 1.
Okay. They announced that Ric Flair would announce a new Horseman tonight, and also Kurt Hennig would make his in-ring debut. Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan came out for a promo. It took them many, many minutes just to get down to the ring to speak. As they were tired from beating Lex Luger's ass last week, had to lie down. Hogan bragged about recruiting Konnan, K-Dog, and Dennis Rodman. Said he was still the number one man. Lex was just another guy coming for a spot. He said, in a fair one-on-one fight, Lex Luger will never get me in the torture rack. And he accepted Luger's challenge for a title match at Road Wild in Sturgis.
Cool. I was bored shitless.
More to come.
I made
Another promo where we know that Hogan is awesome.
I made the very wise decision to use that 10-second skip forward button from the moment they came out to the moment they started to speak. Like that's seriously, they saved at least 2 minutes. Konnan versus Tsubasa.
No, Vinny.
K-Dog.
K-Dog.
I beg your pardon. K-Dog versus...
Larry could not believe the man's name was K-Dog.
He was appalled.
And then he couldn't stop saying it.
Yeah. Larry was appalled a grown man would let anyone call him K-Dog.
He mocked and mocked and mocked and mocked. And then at the end, after Konnan beat Tsubasa in 30 seconds, Tony says something like, "A big win by Konnan." And Larry says, "No, it's K-Dog." His new favorite wrestler, K-Dog.
K-Dog won with the Tequila Sunrise in like 30 seconds. Lord Steven Regal versus Ultimo Dragon.
What was up with the Ultimo Dragon here tonight? He was so over. He was like John Cena under a mask.
It caught him off guard, too.
They didn't even get entrances, and the fans were still losing their minds.
Yeah, he was just standing there like a numbskull when they came back from commercial.
Yeah, and they started this match, and I mean, God, and these men are great. I'm not surprised that this match, short as it was great while it lasted. But yeah, Regal's taking him over, and maybe it's because Regal's big. Maybe it's because Regal's just the guy in a singlet, and here's Ultimo in this cool Halloween costume. But Dragon makes his comeback, and he lights Regal up with kicks, and the place just goes mad. And even Dragon stops and looks around like, what's going on? It caught him so off guard.
He thought somebody was running in.
He may have. So they had a short match. It was very intense, back and forth. They plugged Regal participating in something called the G1.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
And Dragon, literally out of nowhere, hooked a Dragon Sleeper, and Regal tapped, and we had a new TV champion. And as you can imagine, the place went nuts for that. Ric Flair came out. The Horsemen had a good segment in Nitro ever.
I like him. More than you, at least.
Flair comes out. First, I will say Flair's leopard print shirt was amazing. That was the best thing about this by far. So he says, "I am here to announce a fourth Horseman. I've approved this man. Mongo has approved this man. The Enforcer has approved this man. And Chris Benoit has approved this man. And here he is, our new Horseman." And the theme song plays, and out comes Six, who is not the fourth Horseman. Six says, "Are you surprised to see
It
me?"
does beg the question, so who was the Horseman?
Well,
Malenko, wasn't it?
it was Hennig.
Oh,
We shall get to that.
But no, like, why didn't he come out then?
I don't know.
He should have been right behind that curtain waiting to come out.
Yeah, where did he go?
Six jumped him.
I guess.
Sure.
But
Now,
he didn't.
No, he didn't. I know.
well, we'll get into all of this. And all of this is why I hated this. Flair says, "You're in the wrong place at the wrong time." And Six says, "There's no Horseman. You're a thing of the past." And Flair says, "We've had our troubles. I know how tough you are. I'm going to walk away." And of course, that led to a sucker punch. Ric Flair did not actually walk away from a fight with Six. So Benoit comes out to get Flair's back, and Six says, "You wouldn't be pulling this if Hall and Nash were here," was the classic tiny chicken shit heel move, which was awesome. And
You wouldn't be so tough if it were 3-on-1.
if it were 3-on-1.
I loved this. I thought everybody was great in this segment.
So everyone just kind of walked away, and I was left in confusion. I guess Six was right. There is no fourth Horseman. Flair was lying. Everyone just left.
Well, they set up the 6-man for later.
Yeah, I totally missed they had set up a 6-man. That went flying over my head. And it wasn't a 6-man. We'll get to that. Giant versus the Great Muta. Muta does this awesome... He's also a cartoon character. He does this wacky, over-the-top head scratch as he's pondering what to do to the Giant. He throws a few kicks. Giant no-sells them, grabs him for a chokeslam, but it is a trap. And Muta just spits the mist in his eyes with a DQ. Vincent and Randy Savage come running out, and you've never seen either of these men move faster than this. They are attempting to triple team the Giant to death, but there is a flaw in their plan. It's the Giant. He no-sells the triple teaming. He lays out Muta and Vince. Savage runs for his life. Giant is still enraged and blinded. Luger hits the ring. Giant grabs him and lifts him for a chokeslam. But Luger is able to say, "It's me, Lex." And Giant sets him down, and a geek hits the ring with a towel to wipe his eyes. So they're doing clearly the Giant and Savage at Road Wild.
Still Hog Wild, I believe.
Was it?
Or did they say Road Wild? May have changed by
I believe they only just said Sturgis.
Could have been, yeah.
Yeah. Dean Malenko versus Steve McMichael.
The world that I live in, where I got to watch Steve Mongo McMichael wrestle Dean Malenko in a wrestling match.
It's our job.
I've never seen two more polar opposite people in size and in skill in one match.
Oh, come on. They were very similar, really.
Yes, please explain, Brian.
They weren't at all. Malenko nearly kills this guy with the back suplex. Mongo hoists him up and hits him with what I can only describe as a move, because I don't know what the fuck it was.
Fair.
I think it was supposed to be
He had
a
him
tilt-a-whirl.
kind of upside down,
Yeah.
and then he fell on him.
I think he tried this tilt-a-whirl or something. And he's sitting there holding Dean upside down, and you can almost see Mongo's head trying, how can I put him down without just dropping him on his head? Because his first reaction was to do a tombstone and kill the guy. And he turned it into some sort of slam. So, as I wrote here, Dean was doing what he could with a big lug. Jarrett runs out to distract Mongo. Deborah is out there as well. She takes the ref. And Dean hits a dropkick to the back, and he hits a small package. You've never seen anyone fight so hard to actually get a small package and get his opponent onto his back.
It was the slowest small package of all time.
This was a battle.
It was so slow that I thought all of a sudden it was going to go the other way.
And Mongo would hit
You know
up
what I
on
mean?
top.
Yeah.
Like when they're doing a slow motion replay and it goes brrrr and goes backwards and they do it again. That's what I thought was going to happen.
It was like Mongo was actually trying to fight going to his back. And Dean was like, this is the finish. I'm pinning you.
Oh, he pinned him all right.
He finally pinned him.
This was a beautiful disaster.
That's fair. So Oakland goes to interview Malenko. Jared interrupts. He says, we need to watch each other's backs. The Horsemen are after me. Eddie Guerrero is after you. Dean says there is strength in numbers. And Deborah's talking about she only deals with winners. And in conclusion, Dean said, I will give you my answer when I'm good and ready. He left. I don't remember what happens here, but Jeff Jarrett, Deborah, and Dean Malenko may be the strangest faction I could put together with the whole Nitro roster here.
And then in WWF, they replaced Malenko with Owen Hart.
That I could see. I could see that much better. That worked great.
That's true.
Was Deborah with Jared then?
Yeah.
I've actually forgotten that. Eddie Guerrero versus Hector Guerrero in what may have been the most unintentionally funny match I've seen in a long time.
Dude, this match was awesome.
It was
if
awesome,
you denigrate this match, I'll kill you.
Can we do about like 5 or 10 minutes on Hector's tights?
Fuck, you can talk about whatever. I totally forgot this match happened. Mike Tenay, in his records, could not find a single time that they had ever wrestled in a singles match before.
Quite certain in the 1990s, Mike Tenay traveled with thick textbooks and binders.
I believe so.
There's no doubt in my mind.
There were things that Eddie Guerrero did that were superior to what Hector did, but there were also things that Hector did that he was superior to Eddie. And they had a wondrous, wacky little match with Eddie doing all of the craziest high flying from the 90s and Hector responding with all of the craziest high flying from the 70s.
Yes, that's exactly right.
A fucking time machine match, and it was awesome.
At one point, Eddie honestly saved his life.
There was a point that where I was leading to about the funniness. Hector, I believe the idea was he was running towards the ropes, like the middle of the ropes.
Right.
And I think the idea was he would grab the top rope with both hands and do like a handspring back over, and Eddie would run underneath him. The guy's doing the corner all the time. I've never seen anyone do it in the middle of the ropes before. But Hector jumps, and he reaches out for the ropes, and he misses.
Yeah.
And the noise he made when he missed, as all of Hector Guerrero's life flashed before his eyes.
It's like Coyote hitting the bottom of the canyon floor.
That is exactly what it was. He froze at the top of his arc. He's about to drop, and that's what Eddie went over and got him. The noise he made, I can't emulate it. I won't try, but I howled with laughter. Then he used a Kiwi roll, which always makes me laugh as well. And Eddie began to bite him, and Hector was doing these amazing bug-eyed screams to sell the biting.
He was being bit.
By his little brother.
Fuck.
Probably used to bite him legitimately. So, eventually, Eddie hit a low blow, a power bomb, and a frog splash for the win. So, Malenko returns. He jumps Eddie, power bombs the snot out of him, puts him in the cloverleaf. Place is going nuts. Hector comes to, and looks over and realizes, this man is beating my brother. And my brother and I just had a fight, but damn it, he's still my brother. He goes over to Dean and says, you gotta let him go. And Dean won't. So Hector goes after Dean. This goes badly for Hector. Dean whips his ass, puts him in the cloverleaf. Eddie recovers. He looks over. Now he sees Dean beating up his brother, and Eddie says, fuck it. And he leaves.
Loved every last single moment of this.
That was tremendous.
God, it was great.
J.J. Dillon interviewed Gene Okerlund. Oh, God, this. He says, I am here to announce a new talent signing. Stevie Richards comes out.
Okay, before you recap this, I want everyone to just think about Raven and ECW and Paul Heyman, the Revolution, and Raven leaving ECW to come here, and this is what they've come up with.
As Heyman liked to call Raven, the David Koresh of wrestling himself. He was a cult leader. He was a bad man. It was grim and there was a gravity to when Raven was on screen. This is an evil force. Stevie Richards, who always was the comic foil, he interrupts. He says, there's a new talent signing, and it's me. I'm the new signee. And Dillon says, yes, it is true. You are signed. Now, where's Raven? Stevie says, oh, he's in the front row. Here, I'll show you. And they all walk down the ramp to where Raven is sitting in the front row. And Dillon says, Raven, here is your contract. You are such a big star. We have agreed to everything you want. And Raven is confused. Everything I want, he asks. He looks at Stevie. Stevie says, yes, I have negotiated this contract on your behalf. It's a great deal. You're making almost as much money as I am. Go ahead and sign.
So in storyline, Stevie is not a victim. He's a fucking moron who deserves his beatings.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that part's totally true. Everything with Stevie here was fine. He was entertaining, and he is supposed to be a geek. So he was a comedy geek who acted and was treated like a comedy geek. I have no problem with Stevie here. But Raven, upon learning that his lackey has fucked up and negotiated a deal Raven didn't want in the first place, he goes into one of his promos. And it was these were the spooky Bray Wyatt promos.
These are Bray Wyatt promos.
Yes. It's largely nonsense, but he's talking about lost souls and empty humanity.
I can't remember if I liked him at the time, but I hate him now. It's just so stupid.
I hardly ever saw him in ECW, honestly, and I don't know if I liked his promos here or not, but I've seen enough to go back and realize there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. If you go back, as I later did, go back and watch Raven's promo packages from ECW, and even though the content was very similar to this, they were more like videos. He'd be like sitting in an empty classroom, reflecting on his miserable childhood or whatever. Those were awesome. This here, when he starts to recite poetry, and it would have been pretty lame on its own, but Stevie and J.J. Dillon and Gene Okerlund, they all just roll their eyes. Oh, here we go. Mm-hmm. Immediately, they turned him into a giant joke.
And it didn't do him any favors when they had him do the gimmick where he's rubbing the inside of his right arm or his left arm because, see, that's where the heroin goes.
Yeah.
And rubbing the nose and all that.
Yeah.
The one thing, it would be one thing if Jake Roberts were cutting like a great promo and the announcers were rolling their eyes, you just kind of be hoping that Jake would beat their ass. Raven wasn't even cutting a good promo and they were rolling their eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck he was talking about, as usual.
Also needed to be said that Stevie Richards was wearing a Bullet Boys t-shirt.
Absolutely.
Raven, a Dinosaur Jr.
Yes.
Great band.
Yeah. So eventually he tore up the contract. He decked Stevie. He calmly sat back down. Now a complete clown here on Nitro. And they went over to Stevie and he made some more jokes, and that was that. Lex Luger versus Scott Norton.
Yeah.
Went like a minute.
So you're telling me that Lex Luger is getting Hulk Hogan for the title shot in Sturgis, and he couldn't even beat Scott Norton?
Nope. No.
I don't know how the ratings did this week, but Raw had to have killed this show.
No, fuck no. They were slaughtered by this show.
Even though it was on different nights?
88 weeks, Daddy.
Yeah. So it went like a minute. NW attacks for the DQ. And the funny thing is, they attack for the DQ and then Lex kicks all their asses anyway. So why couldn't he have gotten the win?
I don't have any idea.
He cuts a promo. He starts to address Hogan. Hogan interrupts before Lex can even get to his point. Hogan says, Lex, you're a Hollywood wannabe. Your day's coming in Sturgis. And Lex goes charging up the ramp, but Hogan and the NWO flee. Hall and Nash arrived.
I'm not a man that likes to harp on what people are wearing on these shows. Kevin Nash showed up in the shortest pair of plaid boxers
Yeah.
with his
More
skinny
boxers.
ass chicken legs hanging out.
And Scott Hall was wearing the exact same Daisy Duke shorts he was wearing the week before.
You know,
I can go ahead.
I know that his nickname was Big Lazy. But this was a level of lazy I did not even think Kevin Nash could attain.
See, I must disagree with you there.
Didn't even put his fucking pants on.
Of course you would, Vinny.
And he was coming out on national
Of course
television.
Vinny's going to disagree.
Please,
I am dressed barely any better right now. But
You're wearing pants.
I'm wearing shorts. But they're longer. They're not plaid. They don't look like boxers.
You've got your underwear under those shorts.
I do.
He was wearing
Thank
only
God.
his underwear.
Thank God.
Now, here's why I disagree with you. I don't think this was laziness. I think this was a deliberate attempt. He saw what his buddy Sean had gotten away with the night before and said, I can top that. Wait till he sees what I wear on TV. And he went out there in what appeared to be boxer shorts.
These men had a reputation for being really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yes, they did.
I must have had the most non-cool high school in the whole fucking world. That in my teens, I was watching this going, look at these cool motherfuckers. I'm going to go to school tomorrow, just my boxers.
I guess.
And another note, you were in high school in 97. That is
I guess
that
it
is
was
false.
5 years later, but still. My community college must have been so goddamn boring.
As someone else who went to Bothell High, I can confirm it was the least cool high school in the world. So K-Dog ran up to talk to them, but they decided to talk elsewhere to avoid the cameras. Wrath and Mortis versus La Parka and Psychosis.
You know?
They did the... Okay.
I just gotta say that it's weird because this was bad, but it was awesome. And I don't even know why.
It was a complete 100% styles clash. No four of these men had any idea what to do with anyone else in the ring.
No.
Now, before the match began, they did the intros, and they cut backstage where Flair is having a discussion with Henning. And you can't hear the whole thing, but you can see Flair saying, why did you leave me hanging like that? Why weren't you there when I was there to introduce the fourth horseman? So you see, Henning was going to be the new horseman. Six didn't jump him. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't delayed. He just left Flair to dry out there like a dick. And Flair, the moron, tried it again later.
Well, I think the storyline is that Flair wants him to be the horseman, and he thinks he's going to be the horseman. But Hennig doesn't want to be the horseman. Because actually, you missed a show. That's exactly what happened last week.
I see.
Like, Flair was... Hennig is doing an interview. Flair came out, acted like they were best friends, and dragged him off to be a horseman, and Hennig did not want to go. So that is the storyline.
Okay. Still, then, okay, Flair's then an idiot in a different way. Because before he was an idiot who let this guy, I thought, he was an idiot who let this guy lie to him and then just let it go. And, spoiler alert, eventually this guy kept lying to him and stabbed him in the back. So now he's an idiot because he thinks this guy will bend to his will, and if I say he is the horseman, of course he's going to just say yes.
He's overconfident.
Yes.
He thinks no man in the world would turn down the opportunity to be a horseman.
Which begs the question, have you been watching Nitro the past 2 years?
Well, maybe Hennig has.
Yeah. Point is, Flair looks dumb. Any way you paint it. So they're out here, Parka and Psychosis and Wrath and Mortis. And Psychosis tries to run up the ropes and nearly dies. Park is taking flip bumps for back elbows. It's two heel teams that don't know what to do with each other. They're just making stuff up as they go. Sonny Ono and James Vandenberg chase each other around the ring. And finally, Wrath and Mortis hit a powerbomb neckbreaker combo and get the win. And Parka breaks a chair over Mortis' back. Wrath hits him with a brogue kick. Eventually, it all settles down. And at the end, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Nothing was accomplished here.
This was an absolute mess. Psychosis running up the ropes to do a move and then trips and falls to the outside from the top rope.
Funny thing was, he does this, and they're talking about how, well, that's why you call them high-risk moves. The crazy thing is, he'll get up and he'll try that again in his next match. Tony says, I better try this again here in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then he didn't. Buff Bagwell versus Booker T. By this point, I had heard the NWOB team theme music at least 90 times on this 2-hour show, and I was quite sick of it. So the story they were telling was that Booker, as talented and dangerous as he was used to singles competition, or excuse me, used to tag team competition. Now he's out there by himself, no Stevie Ray, no Sherry, and there's 3 NWO guys out there, and he has no idea what to do as they are constantly interfering and cheating. He keeps making comebacks, and someone will cheat to cut him off. At last, Vincent takes the ref. Bagwell is down selling. Norton climbs up in the apron and shouts Booker's name. A few times. Booker! Booker! Finally, Booker hears him, turns around, walks toward him. Norton drops him with a lariat. And Bagwell hits the blockbuster and gets the pin.
So is the preview of the match that killed WCW.
It was.
There's also there was a great thing between Bagwell and Nick Patrick. Nick Patrick ends up at one point shoving down Bagwell because Bagwell got in his face, and Bagwell begged off like Ric Flair. It was tremendous.
Dude, Bagwell, I say this every week. His reputation was totally killed by that Tacoma match.
Yeah.
Well, it was after he broke his neck. He was never the same.
I see. Yeah, young Bagwell was awesome. He was, because right before he joined the NWO, he looked like he was going to be the next great babyface. He's joined the NWO. He's a great heel, great tag guy, great singles guy. This Bagwell was awesome. Oakland interviewed Rey Jr. He's out there on crutches. He's trying to avoid surgery. Heal naturally, he said. So he knew that being a wrestler came with a risk of injury, and Rey in 1997 was a really bad promo. And Konnan came out to save the day, basically. He comes out, he kicks Rey's crutch away. So he should be in school playing in a sandbox somewhere. And he's intimidating him. He's about to go kill Rey once and for all. When all the other luchadors come out, they stand by Rey. Rey says, Konnan, you know nothing about loyalty and family. And Konnan says, the Wolfpack's my family now. They've got my back.
First off, I thought Konnan was awesome here as a dick heel. Rey comes out and Gene looks at him and says, this man, pound for pound, in my estimation, this man is as tough as they come. Wow. Pound for pound, he's tough.
125
I thought they might say
tough.
pound for pound, he's the best wrestler in this company. No, pound for pound, he's a tough man. Cool.
M. Wall Street, who's still doing that silly anti-WCW gimmick.
Well, he can't be NWO, remember?
This is worse.
I know.
To have him do anything else. Anyway, he wrestled Kurt Hennig in Hennig's big debut.
What a debut.
Crowd chanting for DDP. Hennig wins in a minute with a perfect flex.
Problem here with this deal is that DDP ran in after the match and essentially they brawl and he gives him the diamond cutter. They have DDP come in through the crowd like he's Roman Reigns.
Uh-huh.
And the problem is, in order to get to the ring in time, he has to head out like halfway through this match.
Right.
Somebody sees him and they start cheering and he totally killed the finish.
The match was about 35 seconds, and DDP had to start his entrance 15 seconds into the match.
Could you just have him like run in from just like wait till the match is over maybe? I don't know.
And the crowd and the camera panned back, and you never actually saw Henning hit the perfect plex.
No.
It was the world's shittiest debut.
It was up there.
And then he got beaten up and laid out.
Yeah.
Way to go, Mr. Perfect.
Kevin Nash and Scott Hall versus Chris Benoit and Ric Flair. First of all, I was not aware there had been a challenge for this match in that 6 Flair promo earlier. Second of all, as the announcers were talking, I thought they were saying it was going to be a 6-man. So it's 2 Horsemen out there against 3 NWO guys. I guess, okay, it's a handicap match. Turns out I was wrong on all of this. It was a tag team match. Match was a lot of fun, is the good news. Especially when Hall and Benoit were in there. That was great. He interfered. 6 interfered to cut Flair off. And when 6 interfered, that was the point I realized he was not dressed to wrestle and this was not a handicap match. It was just a tag match. God bless Ric Flair, but they hit him with about 800 moves in a row.
By the way, was this a title match?
Don't know.
They won, so it doesn't matter.
I know, but it was last week they established that the Steiners were the number 1 contenders.
That would mean it wasn't a title match then. It was just a match.
Pretty sure they said it was a title match.
Anyway, the point of this is they beat on Flair for less time than they beat on John Cena on Raw on Monday. Just want to bring that up.
That was like 9 or 10 minutes.
They beat on that fucker for hours, it seemed.
So, Benoit gets a hot tag. He is running wild. Of course, it's great.
God, what a hot tag. He was half their size.
Oh, yeah.
But his hot tag made him look twice their size.
He was half their size and half their number.
He wrestles big.
And you still felt bad for them.
And I got to give Nash credit. Hall always sold for everybody. But Kevin Nash here, probably because he was booting the guy in the face for the pin, he sold for Benoit like a crazy man.
Oh, yeah.
And part of it also was he probably figured if I don't sell for this guy, he's going to make me.
Exactly.
So I may as well sell for him the best that I can.
That's probably
I can do
true.
this the hard way or the easy way.
Yes. So Flair gets distracted fighting 6. This leaves Benoit alone against the 2 giants. And eventually he is overwhelmed and Nash hits him with a big boot and pins him. As this is going on, 6 goes after Flair's bad shoulder, puts him in the chicken wing. Mongo tries to make the save there. And the Steiners come out and they just stood there.
Because they're the number 1 contenders.
Yeah. They had to stare down with the outsiders, and that was the end of the show. It definitely felt like this show was made up on the fly, but it was pretty fun.
It was fun. It was not as fun as Raw.
Raw was more fun.
But yeah, not a bad night here in the Monday Night Wars, everybody. And it sounds, I don't know because I haven't watched it yet. It sounds like they were both better than SmackDown. Draft show. I'm going to find out in a moment because I'm going to go watch it. And that will be it for here, everybody. We will be back on Thursday with all of the usual stuff. If you want to send songs, I know people have been wanting more songs on the show. It's up to you guys. You got to send in the songs. Brian at WrestlingObserver.com, song in the subject line, and we will play them. Obviously, rap with Vinny is best. But you can make a song about whatever you'd like. So send those to me, and we'll play them here on the show. And that is it from here. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Bye.